We're live.
And you are now live.
Thank you, Aisha. Well, good evening, everyone. Evening in the UK, sort of afternoon in the US. To our FBS chat, we're really pleased to have Jenny Clarke with us, and we'll get to know Jenny, all about Jenny and her work. And thank you, Pamela King, for joining me from Utah as my co-host. So fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Always kind of kick off, really, Jenny. Always fascinated about how practitioners came across the solution focus approach initially.
Oh, thank you. And first, can I say I'm really, really delighted to be here. I've seen some of your previous broadcasts and I'm so admiring of the company that I am now in. So thank you very much for the invitation. I think I came across solution focus the way I often come across things in a book, probably first. Early 90s, I was taking voluntary redundancy from what my last proper job ever was. I still call it a proper job though. And we had some personal development opportunities as part of that. And I did an NLP course and I did hypnotherapy course. So I qualified to do hypnotherapy. And I got interested in some of the precedents to those things, Erickson and Bateson and people like that. And I think it was a book which isn't directly solution focused, but you'll recognize the name of Bill O'Hanlon and James Wilk, who you won't probably have heard of because he kind of disappeared as far as I can tell. But they wrote a book together called Shifting Contexts, which made a huge amount of sense to me. So it was having read some of these sort of precedent people. And then in 1994 was a big year because in 1994, I was living in Bristol at the time, went to a course in Bristol run by Jane Leatham, who used to work for Brief. So it was build a solution focus. Then went to Palo Alto to the MRI, the Mental Research Institute, to train with them.
Wow.
And I thought, this is interesting because there were some fantastic people there. Like, oh dear, that was just terrific. And at the time, didn't know. When I'm saying we, by the way, I'm probably talking about me and Mark McCurgo. So when we did that. So when I'm talking about we, it's not the royal we, it's me and Mark. Well, it's usually not the royal we. Sometimes it is. Anyway, Mark and I, went to the MRI, and we didn't know that this particular year, 1994, was very special because after the week's course there, we went to a conference, which was a joint conference between the Brief Therapy Center, Milwaukee, and MRI. And we kind of thought that since they clearly had so much in common, that should have been a regular thing. But it wasn't a regular thing. It only happened once. I think I recall them saying Insu thought that, Insu, who had trained at MRI, thought that solution-focused brief therapy and MRI were very similar. Steve, of course, thought they were very, very different. So anyway, there was all of that. So all of that went on in the early, mid-90s. And we were thinking, this is just fantastic stuff. And too good to be left on the mental health shelves. We, after we'd left our proper job, had become management consultants, working a lot with teams and groups and thinking, this conversational method of, I was going to say overlooking, not ignoring, but overlooking problems. Overlooking problems is, as I said, too good to be left on the mental health shelf. We should be bringing this more into the corporate world or the world of management. And we spent a long time then learning, going to conferences, going to the EBTA, doing things. Mark and Paul wrote the first book for management, which was, I think, was published in 2001 or 2. So we spent a lot of the 90s doing that kind of thing. We had a Bristol Solutions group, was the first interdisciplinary group, I think, where we met with therapists and other consultants and coaches, kind of refining or working out how does it work in different contexts. So that was a long answer to the beginning. Started with a book, started with a kid, started with a book, and then got into this immediate thinking, God, this stuff is good. How else can it be used? Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of when you were taking redundancy, Jenny, were you not in a therapy world then? Was it the corporate world?
No. I'm very corporate, very left-wing. I worked in the nuclear power industry, electricity generating board. So no, not at all. I wouldn't have said I didn't help people, but I was helping people in different ways. Keeping the lights on, it was called. And it was privatization in the industry that made me think I don't want to be part of this anymore. So,
Jenny, do you have a particular story in your long career that just still sticks with you as a time when you saw and the people you were working with saw that boom shift of moving from problems to solutions?
I'm thinking of one which is fairly early on in my time. It was still in the 90s, working with a group of security people at a power station. And I think, and I can't remember what led to it. I can't remember what clever thing I did, but I can remember the moment, the clever thing that they did, which was suddenly when they said, they'd spent a long time talking about, we can't do that, but they won't let us. They don't do that kind of thing here. They were. And all of a sudden, it seemed to all of us, somebody said, well, never mind about them. What can we do? And ever since then, I've been on this, what I call a pronoun watch. You have to listen to this they stuff. But when you get this, what can I do or what can we do? That's a really nice moment when you can think, okay, we're on the right a different trajectory now. Because I think you've got to sit with that they stuff for a while. You've got to acknowledge it without getting sucked into it. See what I mean? You can't say I'm not interested in that, even if you're not interested in that.
And then when it turns to I and we, it's
when it
so
turns
much
to
more
I and we,
personal.
well, never mind about them. What can we do?
Wow.
Is just one of those moments. Yeah.
I'm always it's always brilliant to meet people that have actually met Insu and Steve, because we never have. I mean, we've seen videos and tapes, and so what was that conference like? What was that kind of standout moment when you thought we can work with this?
It was like saying, it was being a bit starstruck and not really being very new, not understanding any politics, if there were politics, not knowing any of that stuff. Brian Cade was there as well, and he doesn't call himself solution focused, but he is. He calls himself more provocative. But it was. I found my notes of it recently because I was trying to remember something. Anyway, there were a lot of really interesting people there, and again with this kind of idea that it was truly radical what they were doing. It was truly different somehow. Quite a long gestation period, because it really goes back to the 50s, 60s. You can see a trajectory. We've used that word twice now. You can see that happening. And it was exciting. It was exciting.
Yeah. Must have been. Wow.
But let me just talk about this Stephen Insu thing, not having met Stephen Insu. One of the things why I'm so grateful for you guys who have never met them is that, you know, the world exists without them. And there has been a danger, I was thinking, especially soon after they died, of us kind of getting into this, who knew them best, who had known them, who, you know, and I'm really glad now that, this is a bad thing to say, but you understand I'm saying it in this context. Now that they're not here, we don't have to do that anymore. What would Steve have said? What would Insoo have said? And there was a period when there was a bit of a competition for who could channel them better, you know. And since they were so different, which is the other good thing about this field, I think. They were so different. You couldn't channel them both at the same time, that's for sure.
And the beauty of SF is that it's constantly evolving.
Yes, exactly.
Constantly evolving. So, yeah, it's great. Joe Chan says, well, first he said, hi, everyone, and then amazing sharing by Jenny Clarke again. Oh.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Loving to.
We had dinner in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, I guess. So, hi to him.
How did so when you obviously you and Mark decided that we can take this out of the therapy world, it doesn't need to be stuck here because there's uses for it in the corporate world. How easy was it at that time, being fairly new, to persuade the corporates that this might be a good thing for you?
You don't even try. You don't even do that. You just use the methods, ask the questions, make the observations, and in general, people will. It's that old thing about the people think they've done it by themselves, and indeed they have. But just occasionally, somebody will say, "Oh, that was different, wasn't it? How did you do that?" And then there might be a request for training, and sometimes this can be difficult because when the boss says we're all going to be solution focused now, I think we kind of shy off that. It's a real, you know, this will be the 10th initiative that they've had in the last 3 years or something. So we're not very keen on following up on that kind of invitation. Come and train us. What we would do instead, if we had that kind of curiosity, gosh, that was a bit different. This is not like most people come and work with us. We would say, well, give us something to work with, and then we'll bring it to consciousness later how we worked. So there might be an issue. We did one on performance management, for example, that they wanted in performance management to be improved. So we kind of worked with that a bit and then brought to consciousness how to have a decent performance management conversation. So there's an example. So you have to be a little bit guerrilla about it, guerrilla about it. But you do get these huge enthusiasts who say, that was fantastic, come and teach us. And I think you have to be a bit wary of that because people get a bit alarmed that, oh God, this is another thing that we're going to have to do. So, yeah.
And it is such a different way of approaching the conversation rather than, oh, we're going to make you do this thing. Yes. It's, what are you already doing?
Yes.
And that is a different conversation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's so counter to find out what's working and do more of it. It's really somebody, helicoptering it in from somewhere else to tell you, oh, here's a good way of doing things. That's not great. Actually, I don't know if this is an answer to Joe's question as well about how do you know when it's worked, but asking a scaling question of somebody during this performance management kind of thing. And it was what you might call a Mr. Plod, does everything that's asked of him, but no more. Scaled himself as a 7 or something. at his work, and you think, well, that's what such a great thing that the scaling tool is, isn't it? 7, wow, that's terrific. What's getting you to a 7? Fantastic. And what could take you a little bit higher? How would you know that you got to a 7.5? Means that Mr. Plod, who just sits there saying, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to, has to admit that he can be doing a little bit more. So that's another sort of nice bit of noticing that the guerrilla effort has worked somehow.
And it's also really, really acknowledging and highlighting what he's already done.
Yes.
Which is something we all need.
Tell me more, you know. Yeah. And even you could, then we could say to managers, and even if you're a little bit dubious about what you're being told that's got him up to a 7, you can say, I haven't noticed that. Tell me more. I'm sorry, I haven't noticed that. Tell me more. So, you can have a different, I'm sounding dreadfully Machiavellian, but, that's the beauty of this methodology.
Yeah.
And of course, when I say in the mental health shelf, it's everywhere now. I mean, it spread during that same period to everywhere. Criminal justice, schools, social work, community work, everywhere now.
I'm curious to take it to another place. How do you find solution focus showing up in your own life? How does it help you in being your best self?
Only when I ask it to. So for me, solution focus is not a way of life, and I don't know what people mean really when they say it's a way of life, except that they're probably nicer people than I am. For me, solution focus is for when you're stuck. It's for getting out of stuck situations. So I love problem solving. I'm a great problem solver. I spent most of my corporate career solving problems. But it's when you can't that solution focus is necessary. So if you know how to solve a problem, then you solve it. So it comes into my life when I remember to ask it to come in my life, when I realize that I'm stuck and what I'm doing isn't working. And then the best question that I can ask to myself is a version of, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
Because in my case, anyway, when I'm stuck, it's because I'm so overwhelmed by what I don't want. So it shows then when I just can stop for a moment and say, I'm not getting what I want. So what is it that you want? And trying to articulate that is not the easiest thing, as we all know from just various asking of the best hopes question. It can take a while to get an answer to that.
Yeah. It's really interesting because you said throughout your corporate career you were a problem solver.
Yeah.
People would come to you and you would solve problems for them, I guess. How easy was it, or how difficult was it to let other people come up with their own problems rather than thinking?
Yeah. Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy for me. It takes discipline. So it takes discipline. I just leave it like that. But we have a problem with our name. This is a good point to place to say that we have a problem with the name solution focus, I think. Solution focus. Who isn't solution focused? But not in the sense that we are. And I can remember a manager who I did introduce the phrase to, solution, and he said, "Oh, I'm solution focused. I can see solutions immediately and tell everybody." And if you go out into the street and ask somebody what solution focus means, that's what they would think it meant. Tell me the solution. Tell me what to do. Thinking that you can see what people should do. I can get alarm signals when I get that feeling now. but it took me a while to notice. So I think that was Bill O'Hanlon, actually. It may have been Bill O'Hanlon who said, when you can see what to do, go and lie down somewhere.
Yeah.
Might have said, yeah, because you don't know what to do in this context for this person. You know, how can you?
And that highlights exactly why you don't go in teaching solution focus. You go in with a conversation.
With a conversation.
And start where they are
and what they want.
What do you want?
Yeah, and often people just want to say how dreadful everything is, and I think you have to allow a bit of that without what I would do in the pub, which is to go, oh, me too, or do you think that's terrible? Mine's worse. You know, that's what I do in conversation. You know, you've got problems without doing any of that.
Yeah, and it's just respectful as well, Jenny, isn't it? To show that you've understood, or that at least you're taking on board and listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a good. Insu would just do something like, "Oh, that's tough," and you don't want that. That would be enough for her to move it on. That's tough, and you don't want that.
Yeah, and we were looking at we were showing a tape of Insu just a little bit at the training thing, and it was the couple. And when something sort of negative or awful came up, she would say, "Yeah, I'll come back to that."
Yes.
Which she never did. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've heard you. I'm being respectful.
Yeah.
You'll come back to it, but actually.
Yeah.
Joe is really good at that because he'll say the same thing to me. I'll come back to that.
It was. I think when we first started out, it was difficult for us because we're working with some very young clients, families, and it was difficult to try and dive in and save them. But once we trusted in the process more and just listened to what the client wanted, it was just, they just said we felt a clarity almost.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah, about what this conversation is about somehow. But that's interesting. I don't know what your original discipline was, but since I didn't have any helping profession discipline to unremember or unlearn, actually, in a way, that makes it much easier. Because if you've had years of being taught how important it is to dig into the root causes and all of that, of problems, it must be quite hard to give up, partly because you've been disciplined to, and partly because you've been led to believe it, you know, that how important it is to do all these things. I think, so in many ways it's easier to train managers than it is to train social workers, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
You never had to overcome the let's get to the root problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, I think me and Aisha were in school, so we were somewhat solution focused at the time, but didn't really realize it wasn't really something that was, you know, it didn't have a name for it. Because as a mentor, I wasn't there as a disciplinarian. I was there as, so how can we make things better the next time? So so when we first were told about the approach and did the training, it just felt right.
Yeah.
It just felt complete.
I didn't like it. What are you talking about? I didn't like
that's you. I'm talking about.
You used the plural we.
Aisha was a bit less.
It's not. No
Is that
disrespect
because
to
of
anyone.
what you had been taught before?
No, I think it just didn't click until we went on training with Elliot.
Right. Yeah.
In London, and I just went, oh, got it.
Right.
And then I started to believe in the process, which made a huge difference. Because if you don't believe in the process, you're
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, that was the light bulb moment. Just hearing Elliot speaking in London, I thought, God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No turning back now. I understand this. Now I need to practice. But it was cool. So what are you up to now, Jenny? What are you doing with yourself?
I retired. I'm very happily retired, and because I'm over 70 and I'm at home.
What are you pleased to be?
Tier 3, and so what am I doing now? I'm on the committee of the U3A. I'm doing this. It was going to be the UK SFP's AGM at 5 o'clock, but it's been cancelled. No, postponed, sorry. So I'm spending quite a bit of time on Zoom. And I'm on a couple of committees, and I'm still reading, and I'm still willing to pontificate when people invite me to.
She's not so retired, really, is she?
No.
And I'm sort of developing or having thrust upon me a bit of this grumpy old woman persona, which was first unveiled about 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And when I did a soul talk at one of the Soul World conferences, one of these 80-minute talks. And it didn't have much effect, so I turned it into a rap, and I did a rap about solution focus at a couple.
Hold on, you did a rap?
I did a rap. I'm a grumpy old woman with a story to tell, and if you don't want to hear it, you can go to hell. And one of my favorite lines from it is, and if you can't get no satisfaction, look for useful interaction. So quite a grump about, partly because of the word solution focus, that we get misunderstood, and because we're so nice, we allow people to say that they're solution focused when frankly they're not. So I get a bit anxious about the brand, if you can call it that. I know how difficult it is to define it, and I know it's evolving, and I know that there are other ways of doing good work with clients. It's not the only way that you do good work with clients. I think, and so when people say, "Well, I integrate SF with other things," I'm not very keen on that. But of course, if they get good results, they can do that. But I don't want them to call it SF when they do that, because it clears the pitch for the rest of us who are doing SF. So I get a bit. I think one of the reasons why the SF hasn't made a bigger impact in the world like CBT has is because we're not very good at defining it and at explaining it. And I know why we don't do that, because it's difficult to do. But, so I think this is a real difficulty that the field has if it wants to be in the world of policy making, if it wants to be NHS approved, if all of those things. I think it's a real dilemma.
I don't know who it is. Sorry, Joe. That rap was brilliant. You should do it again sometime, Jenny Clarke. I'm afraid I don't know who posted that, but thank you.
Oh, I've got 2 pages of it. I've just reminded myself of it, so I'll do another line of it then.
Oh, let's hear a few more of your favorite lines.
I agree with Pamela. I'm sorry, this is just brilliant.
Okay. I'm a grumpy old woman living my last years, and if you don't want to listen, I'll shed no tears. Every case is different. They're not all the same. If you've seen it before, you're in a different game. But we do have expertise. This is how we earn our fees, looking for description, not for prescription. Because this is our expertise. We deny that we have expertise. We've got huge amounts of expertise. And we should be proud of it. So it ends up, out loud, I'm SF and proud. But, we should admit to our expertise and shout it out loud. So, yeah.
And it's important for getting hired, too.
Yes, exactly. When you say, well, I don't do anything, well, why should I pay you then?
Exactly.
All the clients do it all. Okay, let them get on with it then. Yes, yeah.
And I mean, I know you was. Is it because either we don't define it enough, or is it the lack of research? Because I know obviously NHS is hugely tied into CBT,
Yeah.
and we have youth mental health services with a year's waiting list.
Yes.
And it's just awful to think that there's young people out there that could be benefiting from maybe even just a single meeting.
Indeed, yeah. And many do from a single meeting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's research, but the problem with that is that I'll do the they thing. They like the research to be diagnosis related.
Right.
And I heard, sorry, I'm doing this now, the Steve DeShazer, I heard Steve DeShazer baffle people many times when they would ask, people in the group would say, does it work for alcoholics? Does it work for, and he'd say, I don't know. And that would annoy a lot of people and confuse other people. But I finally worked out what he was doing. First of all, what is this it? It's a bit like saying, does a piano work? It depends on the person touching the keys whether it works. And it also depends on whether you believe in depression or alcoholism and the importance of the diagnosis. So Mark and I just do it in shorthand now. We say, well, does it work with blue-eyed people? It's a nonsense question. But the researchers want to have an answer to that question. Does it work with?
Yeah.
Or they seem to.
Mm. Yeah. And I think in Evan's interview, he was when he had Steve at a conference, and someone was asking, "Does it work with depression? Does it work with anxiety?" And Steve just said, "No, it works with people and what they want."
Yeah.
And that was a really lovely way of putting it, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Jenny's. I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
Colour of her eyes. And I'm going to create a rap for it as well.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you the whole thing.
I think some of us, like Pamela, yourself, me, Wendy, who's watching, some of us, the ladies should just get together and just rap it out. We just kind of go out there, as Jenny's saying, and just, this is what a real SF, what the meaning of SF is, guys, and just get it out there. We could be like number one.
But even that is difficult. I was not briefly, I spent 2 or 3 years on the UK SFP's accreditation committee, because everybody says things like, well, it's difficult to define SF, but we recognise it when we see it. And we discovered on the accreditation committee that we weren't all recognising it when we saw it, and we weren't all agreeing it. And now we have SFBTA. I don't think that their list of things that have to be covered in a training are very different now from what the UK SFP is saying in its accreditation. SFBTA haven't changed it since 2012, I think, when I last looked at the website there. So there are it's still very goal oriented in the SFBTAs. You have to establish a goal. Not many people say that now following Brief. Brief have moved a long, long way from that. So there are varieties of SF probably now.
I'm curious, we're talking a bit about the evolution and how things have changed and we've moved through the decades. In your mid-late career, what was something that really gave you a spark maybe, or that you became very fascinated with, that was within the solution-focused world or thinking?
I think for me, it's what's now called the best hopes, which my mouth isn't comfortable with that phrase very, very much. Mark McCurgo and Paul Jackson in their book call it platform building. And I think it was the platform building, what is this discussion going to be about? What do we want? That bit. I used to, at the beginning, I thought that could be taken as read and was obvious. But now, or more recently, especially working with groups and corporate groups, that bit, the permission to continue, the permission to do the work, could take more than half of the time. And it wasn't as obvious or quick as I had naively thought when they said, come, that it would take a while, especially with a group with different perspectives, to find the time to talk about something that they all could want. So what's this conversation going to be about? The platform building. One of our trainees said, you can't get on the train, you can't buy a ticket, you can't leave the platform until you've got a ticket. It's the ticket, the permission to work. That the time spent establishing that I now think can take much longer. It can be a large part of the work, really. What's this about?
And having everyone on the platform,
and having everyone
much more likely to have success.
Yes, or enough people on the platform. That was another thing that we discovered. Was working with what we call the green people, most of the people, say you've got a room full of, or a group of 20 people, you'll have about 5 who are really keen to get on with things. You might have 5 who don't see a problem and don't want to do anything. And the ones in the middle are actually, will just wait and see which way things are going. And there's a tendency to spend too long working with the people who don't want to move. Whereas actually, if you move with what we call the green people, things start to move, and then the rest of the people think, well, we might as well join in. And, too bad with the red people, frankly, So, the train is moving, you better get on, or not. Or you get behind.
Or stay on the platform.
Or stay on the platform.
Be left behind.
Go somewhere else.
But working with the people, working with where the energy is, which is the other thing about, when there's a list of however many things are wrong, well, where should we start? Well, let's start with either the easiest one or the one that most people think is the most important, but preferably the easiest one where you can get a quick win. Like, I bet I'm not the only person who puts on my to-do list, write a to-do list, so I can tick it off.
I love to-do lists. What I love, Jenny, is crossing things out when it's done.
Exactly.
That's what I love about them. Not so much compiling the list, because
I've been known to cheat and write things that I have already done so that I can.
I've done that. And it gives you a bit of energy. It's like, that's what have you already done, Christian, and that should go on the list.
And I guess being in some big companies, obviously companies are divided into departments, and certain departments may think this is the best thing to start with, and someone else. It's a bit like with our family work. Not every member of that family may have the same best hope, but somehow some of them are interconnected.
Yes.
And it's just, like you say, giving them the option of where do you think would be a good place to start?
Where shall we start? And preferably ones with the quick wins, because then there's a point to it. I think that's the other thing, Pamela, about small steps. just how small the small steps can be. And saying when somebody says, and what will be the first tiny sign, and they say something enormous, like the marketing plan will be fixed, and say, what will be the small sign that the marketing plan is about to be fixed? And it might come down to somebody will make a phone call, talk about what a marketing plan might look like. You know? So getting that, the size of the signs and therefore the steps smaller.
Right. Yeah, I said with a family yesterday, that sounds like it would be much higher. What would be 2.5?
Yes. And it's harder. It's harder.
It's a hard question.
You can think of the big, you know, the big things, you know, like I'll be happy, or would be the tiny sign that you were happy. It's harder than I won't be happy, for example. Yeah. So
And is there any? Obviously, you don't have to name the company, but is there one that stands out that you felt made such great improvements that you were really proud of?
The one that I'm thinking of, and this is a bit of a shame because I did talk about it a few months ago, and Aisha might have been there when I was talking about a glass-making factory where all of the employees were there, 30 of them, and their boss had said, I want it to be a solution-focused company. And we'd gone through that. No, we'll work with stuff first. And we had 2 days with them. And the first day we worked with all the issues that they had, like stock control and production schedules. And they had a couple of shops. So they had quite a long list. But the thing that made me most proud of the work was, I think out of the 30 people, 24 or more were under 25. They'd all left school as soon as they were allowed to. The idea of going on a training day was frankly not what they had left school to be sent to. And they had a good time, and it was mostly because, not only because of SF, but because we've learned quite a lot about how to design training courses as well. How to engage all of the intelligences in learning things. So accelerated learning and brain-friendly learning is a big thing with us as well. So how to do things. So that was best. And the sort of the most obvious, apart from the fact that they said nice things, they labelled their staff room the solutions room after that.
Oh.
And said, well, when we're stuck, we'll go into the solutions room and work out what we really want, what's working for us, you know, all of those things. We taught them the Oscar model, the Oscar coaching model, where what do we want on a scale, what have we got, what's getting us that high, and then reviewing that. So that was what they were taught.
What a great idea. That's another one we're going to steal, Jenny.
Yeah.
Like Aisha says, we're honest thieves. So
the whole field is, you know, giants upon giants upon giants, isn't it? And one of the things I really like about the field is everybody's quite scrupulous in acknowledging where they learn things from.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I mean, you know, that people just are always giving credit.
Because I know, Pamela, you work with families, and so do we. And I was just thinking, a solutions room in the house.
Yeah.
A room where the family can go to.
Step.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Or a solutions chair instead of a naughty chair. Go sit in your solution chair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Or maybe I, as the mother, will go sit in a solution chair and figure out what I can do.
I'm still thinking. 6 hours later, I'm still thinking. That'll be my excuse.
Yeah.
But it's
on a personal note, Jenny, I've been refreshed and inspired by some of the music that you've posted on Facebook as you go about, and oftentimes Mark is playing, and I just noticing what in this hard time of a pandemic, and seeing people dancing with their masks on, playing music, socially distanced. I've really been refreshed and inspired by that.
Well, thank you. I mean, the fact that Mark can play music is just a huge thing. And for decades now, I've been saying things like, I've got friends all over the world, but none in my street. Now I'm getting friends in my street, partly because of the situation we're in, partly because Mark would stand on the front doorstep and play every Sunday, but also because of the situation, you know, we're asking people if, do you need anything from the shops? And it's terrible. It's a British phenomenon, I think, that, you know, we haven't been introduced, whatever, you know, we don't know our neighbours very well, but now we're beginning to know our neighbours, and I think that's one of the good things that are coming out of this.
Yeah. And stepping out on your porch with your clarinet is definitely an invitation to to others to introduce themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's been really good, and you know, Facebook has helped in that we've now got, you know, local WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups that nobody used to bother with. No, that's not fair. I didn't used to bother with.
Well, it's just been such a wonderful way of just, you know, it's almost like a new community, our COVID community, where we've had these opportunities to get to know each other. If it hadn't been for COVID, we probably would not have met you guys.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So in both ways, yes, people all over the world. Oh, wasn't the SF24 fantastic?
Oh, brilliant.
You know, that was just amazing.
Yes.
So, you know, getting more friends all over the world and ones in your own street is, you know, something. It's quite something.
Right. And to be in a breakout room, thinking of that SF24 and other conferences and workshops I've been in and done, to be in a breakout room with 3-4 different countries is pretty amazing.
And all on the same page and the same wavelength, and very nice.
And then the other side of that, neighbors, people on your street. So that's a very heart-touching comment that you made. I have friends all over the world, but none on my street, and now you do.
I think when we and like Aisha was saying, because of the lockdown and reaching out to everyone throughout the world, SF24 was brilliant, but also just seeing how widespread and in so many different arenas that the approach is being used in, but also the understanding from people that actually the young people in Australia and New Zealand, wherever it was, are pretty much want the same things. We all want, you know, we all want to be a little bit happier, and it was strange. I don't know why I would have thought it would be any different just because we're on a different continent, but I guess we're all fellow human beings at the end of the day. And it was that was a brilliant event, and talking to everyone from, like Aisha said, we would probably never have met, and even if you had a training event, we probably wouldn't have been able to travel there. Now, and travel is no longer a barrier.
And being able to,
some of the Asians, haven't you? You've had Joe, Chan, Iron Man Joe, and Edwin Tam. For example. And
speaking to Emma from New Zealand and David from Australia, and such wonderful stories, and just inspiring, really inspiring, because I guess there's times when we all have our doubts as practitioners, right? It doesn't always go swimmingly.
Yeah.
And it's just hearing everyone else. And like I said, that we did a training event 2 days ago, which was really inspirational and wonderful. So when are you going to write your book then, Jenny?
I'm not going to write a book, but Mark's latest book, which does a lot about the evolution of SF since pre Bateson and all of those, goes all the way back. It's with Publishers Routledge now, so with a bit of luck, that'll be out next year. And but I don't write my own books because I keep thinking, by the time I've said something, I've said it. I have observed reading books that they say the same thing over and over again. I just keep thinking, oh, I can't do a whole book. I write articles occasionally, but
yeah,
books,
yeah, that's but you're his spine.
Here's what he describes. I've seen people say in dedications and acknowledgements to my wife, without whom it wouldn't have been possible. He says, "My sternest critic." So, sternest critic. God, can I say?
Holds him to a level of performance.
For God's sake, you've been around this field for long enough, and I'm saying, I don't mean that. I said, this paragraph doesn't say what I think you want it to say.
Absolutely love it.
Sternest critic.
It's very constructive.
And the fact that he keeps asking says something about its usefulness.
Yes. Thank you. I needed that to be pointed out to me.
Well, we know who the brains are in the family, Jenny. I hope he doesn't watch this because we are interrogating him as we decided before. Soon, we know, Jenny.
Yeah, fine.
We know. We know. And if we were to look at your website, because we want to encourage people to look at your fantastic website, which I've been browsing, what could people expect to see? What's on offer?
Okay, so there's lots of resources, there's lots of articles, there's lots of what are we doing. There's Mark's blogs, he blogs a lot. There are some of my articles there. The one that I think when I said the grumpy old woman starts with an article that's on the website called The Copernican Revolution, which I did for EBTA in probably half a dozen years ago, something like that, which describes SF as a paradigm shift, like Copernicus when he said the Earth isn't the center of not even the solar system, never mind the universe, that SF is as fundamentally paradigm shift as Copernicus was. And it was good that the EBTA conference was in Copernicus's hometown that year. So it was very nice to be able to say a bit of cleverness, which I like. So that article on the website is the one that I would like it if people would read.
Yeah, I'm just getting the link for that. And I will share it. And the website.
The talk that I can't remember if there's a link to that on the website or not. There ought to be. If there isn't, I'll put it there. That I did in Soul World 2016, I think it was. That should be there. It's on YouTube. Anyway.
I look forward to looking at that.
That would be quite good. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Jenny, what last questions we should ask you?
Oh my goodness. There is a whole school of solution focus which starts with, what would you like me to ask you?
I know.
I don't know. Yes, what would I like? What are my best hopes for the future of the solution focused world, I think, is something like this. I'm like I say, I'm really, really loving the way that young people are coming, even younger than you two, that there are a lot of young people coming into the field. And my best hopes are that that continues and that it continues to evolve. But really that we get some kind of public credibility. And I'm not sure what the best way to go about that is. So that we are go-to places for expertise, which we offer, you know. So I think it is about we ought to be more assertive about our expertise, actually. So that's a hope, that we become more assertive. But my belief that those hopes will be realized are by the fact that there are new people coming along all the time and getting on with it. So, and the fact that it's now getting into schools, and you know. Oh, there's a nice story. If I've just got time for a nice story that Michael Hiet, I don't know if you know him, from Sweden, told when his son was 7, and he said, his son asked Michael what he did. What do you do at work, Daddy? Kind of question. And Michael said, I help people stop drinking. And the kids said, well, just tell them to stop. And Father said, oh, it's harder than that. And the kids said, why not ask them what they'd rather do?
Oh, wow.
And you know, children do have some kind of innate, until it gets educated out of us.
Yeah, I actually truly believe that.
Yeah.
We're institutionalized from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
And, you know, I completely agree with that. I think children are naturally good problem solvers.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, why not ask what he'd rather do? What's the real, you know, okay. Yeah.
It's wonderful when your client or the people you're working with actually say something that's leads you in a solution-focused direction. I had someone say to me the other day, I just kind of jumped in and I said, what will be useful today? And he said, well, you could ask me again, what's gone well?
Uh-huh.
and I laughed and I said, what a perfect place to start. So he really, I mean, I had seen him a time or two, and he led me back into solution focus, and it's lovely.
And they say, what else, don't they? Do you find them saying, what else?
Yeah.
Before you've had a chance to say, what else?
And sometimes the clients and the clients, whether it be the children or the parents or whoever, they don't have an opportunity to talk about their successes during the week, and they look forward to our meetings. You know, so what's been better since we last met, or a moment of brilliance, or something you did that you're really proud of, and then it's like, yes, now's the opportunity. And at first, they can find it a little bit strange, and then after that, they're so, you know, they look out for those instances.
Yes.
So they can report back.
They notice them, and they can tell you about them. Yeah.
And they're excited to come in and get to tell. It's like, I mean, whether it's adults or children, it's like show and tell. Ooh, I get to have my moment of telling.
It's a bit like when Mark writes a chapter and takes it to Jenny. Read that, Jen. Read that. Even better if.
Yeah,
it would take it from a 6 to a 7. Yeah.
What gets it as high as a 2? Yeah.
Oh my God, you are so wonderful.
I've got a lovely family with a young guy and a young man. I think he's 8 or 9. And I let him start the sessions, and he scales granddad, grandma, and mum. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and then he asks the follow-up questions. It's such a joy to watch. It just runs the first bit of the session for us. It's fantastic, and I guess that's how we filter it out. It's kind of almost like one conversation at a time.
Yes.
But it would be nice, like you say, Jenny. It would be nice that, I don't know if it's accreditation that's lacking, whether it's, you know. But if we can't go from the top down, we'll have to go from the bottom up, I guess. Yeah,
and that's happening. You know, the gorilla thing is. Yeah. I know a lot of people are accredited CBT people who actually do it. Yeah. Because we're not watched. So
it really is a bit of a dilemma, but I completely agree with you. It would be wonderful if we could, you know, have it out there and say this is also an option
Yes.
that we recommend for you. You know, because but currently, I mean, I've worked with a parent and she's been doing so well, but because the court said that she needs to have CBT.
Yes.
And there was such a long wait. So luckily I found a CBT accredited SF person.
Yeah, they are around. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I thought, I forbid, I do not want all the work undone. Absolutely not. So we privately funded it just so, you know, so my work can continue with that person rather than right now you're going to go to CBT. It's a 1.5 year waiting list. You've been waiting 3 months, so you've got a few months to go, quite a few months to go. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, they want CBT, but actually it's not around the corner. You've got to wait over a year. So just to tick a box, we've had to do it. It's a shame, isn't it? Whereas if SF was also, you know, a choice on that form, it would have been absolutely great. But we've actually come to the end, ladies and gents.
It has been fantastic. Thank you for your skillful questioning. I said it would require skillful questioning here. Thank you.
Oh, I think Pamela and Joe did an excellent job. Well done to them. And Jenny, from the first time, and this also applies to Pamela and a few other people, from the first time I met you guys, I was like, oh, love you. Love you. And I remember on one of the networking events that we were at, and Jenny just went, oh, shit. And she just went, oh. And I thought, love her.
Well, I can say worse words than that.
Yeah, that's the word you said that day. And I thought, God, I love this woman. So I'm a little bit of a stalker. I don't know if Pamela's realised, because then what I do is I think, right, I can learn a lot from this person, so I'm going to start following them a little bit. Which is what I did with Pamela. We ended up going for a walk, didn't we, Pamela? We did. I was like, oh, hi, I'm Aisha. Teach me. And I think Joe and I have learned so much through, you know, the skillful people out there, SF people, or whatever we're going to call them. And, you know, the pleasure is always ours to have you guys here with us and teaching us all the time. We're always learning.
It's always fascinating. At the end of our conversations, when the recording stopped, Aisha's upstairs, I'm downstairs, and we normally shout, "Ah, I love them," and that's kind of what we'll do about you, Jenny, as well.
Yeah, we do that.
Oh, she's so lovely.
Jenny,
we won't do that to Mark.
I have one last final best hope that more raps come out, because I think that getting into or maybe you could write a blockbuster screenplay and we can get solution focus out in the public way like that, so people think, well, that's the kind of work I need for my corporation, or that's the kind of work I need to court order my clients to.
Okay, I'll give you one more verse and you can fade us out as we go. SF is great. How to differentiate. Let's talk. Let's rap and cut out all the crap. No problem paralysis nor root cause analysis. Ask for their best hopes and how your client copes.
Brilliant. And on that note, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to our lovely co-host who we admire very, very much, Pamela, and the beautiful Jenny Clarke, who I love, and she said the word shit, love it. And we look forward to many, many more raps. See you guys next week.
Thank you. Thanks, Pamela. Thanks, Jess.
Stay there for a minute, Jenny.